I'm going into my 4th year of being an entrepreneur, and let me tell you, you gotta pick your hearts because being broke and depressed is hard. Being happy, being wealthy and healthy is also hard. But I'm now learning how to balance that and I'm picking my hearts. And in New York City, as an entrepreneur that's starting up, it's very hard to see profit. It's very hard to live off of a starting business. So I'm not gonna do that. I have recently, in the last 2 years, moved part time to Mexico and part time in the States. And that has helped me give myself the life that I want now, today, while I'm still building my empire. Let's get into it. I first quit my job and I was gonna start my freelance service and kind of get into cold call sales. I was living off of savings. I wasn't really generating a lot of leads from my social media because people knew me as working at the dealership, not the online broker. It's very, very, very hard as an entrepreneur, as a small or a new business, to see profit, especially if you live in the city, New York City, California. I don't know, I've only really lived in New York and Florida, so it's expensive. Like, it's expensive to live where you want, afford the lifestyle you want while you're growing an empire. So I had to really choose my hard. They're both hard. It's hard being broke. It's hard being depressed, but it's also hard being wealthy and having an abundant life. They're both hard. I'm lucky enough that I got a chance to see a glimpse of both. And let me tell you, the abundant life is hard, but it's more worth it. Now, because I have the freedom, because I took my business from in person to online and to remote, I have the freedom to choose smarter options. So by me living part-time in Mexico, it allows me to live the lifestyle I want, and that lifestyle may be considered too luxury for the normal average person, but babe, here we're not the average normal person. Like, I want to be able to live by the beach. I want to be in my bikini all day long. I want to have endless Pilates classes, yoga classes. I don't want to have to be shopping around from studio to studio because the classes are too expensive. No, ew. I don't want to wait until I'm 65, 70 to retire so that I have the income, the time to do these things. The time is now. I've learned in the past by my actions that manifesting the life you want is becoming the person that you want to be today, in the now. You have to be happy right now. So although it is hard to do both, you need to pick which hard you want to do. So I'm thinking smarter, not harder. I had to pivot. I knew that if I wanted to start my online business and offer my freelance services, I had to make some sacrifices. I couldn't live in the city that I love because the math not mathin', babe. If you are not producing any money and you have to pay a rent that's 3,000 plus and to eat, to survive, you have to make sacrifices. And the first sacrifice, what that looked like for me, was opening up my horizons. I always told people that I wanted to move to Mexico, but before that, I went back and I lived at home with my mom for a couple of months while I was figuring it out. My apartment, the lease was up and it tripled, so I couldn't afford that if I wanted to live out my dream and not go back to work. I decided to take it back to my mom's house, regroup, replan, and now 2 years later, here I am, finally finding balance. So if you are an entrepreneur like me, I'm in my 4th year. If you're in your first, 2nd year, what I suggest is don't choose the hard that looks like you flaunting and trying to live up to this persona that you're not there yet, maybe. Like, I know as an entrepreneur, I still to this day compare myself a little bit. Like, why am I not seeing the growth I want online with this and that person? But we can't do that. That doesn't help us. It doesn't help us move forward. So now I have the ability to wait on jobs. I don't have to take the first job that comes around my corner. I can be more picky now because I live in Mexico, and although I live in one of the safest cities in Mexico, and it's not as affordable as you would think, it still gives me the time and the flexibility to grow. Now, I'm not saying you have to move to Mexico. I'm saying that I chose the easier hard of both. But if you're in a job right now that you hate and you wake up every day and you're depressed and you're not doing anything about it, that is also hard. I remember when I was in a job that I hated and I woke up stressed every day about customers, about contracts, I didn't even brush my teeth and I'm already thinking about my job. I was not healthy. I was depressed. I hated myself almost. And I was in that cycle for like 3 years, but I was choosing that hard. I was listening to podcasts and I knew exactly what to do. Like, you choose what you want to do. You can either listen to this podcast and listen to podcasts worth 2 years worth of podcasts and not do anything, or you can take action. And I was listening to podcasts and not taking action for a while, and that I chose that hard. I had every excuse in the book. It was never my fault. It was either the outside world or my situation, or I didn't have enough money to start this, that, and the third. But hello, we listen to podcasts from different people that start in different places, and my first thing is make a plan. If you are not an entrepreneur yet, but you want to become an entrepreneur, the first thing I did was make myself a plan. If I keep choosing being depressed and broke, which is hard, then I'm just gonna stay in this cycle and let's just forget about it. Let's not even complain at this point because it's useless. Or I can choose the other hard, that is make a plan, stick to it, sacrifice clothes, going out, food, I don't know, all the liabilities. Maybe you don't have to have the luxury car and live at home if you have a bigger dream. Take the sacrifices and give yourself a limit. All right, if I don't see anything in this next year, I'm gonna have to pivot again. Not give up, I'm gonna have to pivot again. Giving myself a time frame helped me hold myself accountable, because if I was just to say I'm gonna save up until who knows when, then it's not giving me a purpose, it's not giving me a why, and I can't really hold myself accountable to something in the air. So what I did is I said I'm gonna save for 2 years, and in 2 years when I have X amount, then I'm gonna quit. Number 1, take action. Number 2, if you're in your first or second year of being an entrepreneur, then congratulations, that's fucking awesome. It doesn't get easier, it's just gonna get harder. Get used to the fucking struggle, babe, because it's a journey. And if you decide that, you know what, I'm just gonna learn from every motherfucking experience, and I'm not going to blame myself, and I'm gonna take accountability, and I'm not gonna make excuses, then everything that happens in your life is always gonna be a lesson for you. After a while, you're just if the car is not ready and the customer is waiting and they're just going crazy, okay, I'm not gonna stress, because if I stress, it doesn't help it out. I'm just gonna be that, kumbaya that calms down the situation, and maybe I'll give a free car wash or something. But that brings me to number 3. You gotta be a problem solver. You're gonna have a lot of problems in the first 2 years while you're building your systems, while you're figuring out does this service work over this service? You see what I'm saying? It's still gonna be hard. It's hard figuring all that out because it's you versus you. There's no one there to kind of hold you accountable. You're doing it all on yourself. But remember, It's also hard when you work for someone else, when you work for a big franchise and someone is holding you accountable, someone is micromanaging you, and for that itty bitty paycheck, no, no. Pick your heart. I'm gonna pick the entrepreneur because I want freedom, I want time, I wanna be the boss. I'm the type of person that when I used to work at places, I used to say like, yo, if this was my job, I would do it like this. So that's how I knew, like, I was proving to myself that I am an entrepreneur. Like, I got this. I just needed to take that next step. And if you're like me and you're in your third and in your fourth year, or maybe beyond that, I know that being able to afford to live somewhere is one thing. That's the financial part. But my mental also, I don't think I would, even though I could afford to live in the big city, I don't think it would be doing me too much justice, because I would still, at this point, I probably would have to sacrifice maybe not going to yoga every day because I can't afford rent, a car, and yoga every day because, girl, I don't want, no, it wouldn't be able to. So right now, I'm still sacrificing, but the sacrifice looks a lot different. I'm not in my mom's house anymore. My sacrifice is I live in Mexico when I am not taking up a job, like freelancing a job. I'm here. Yes, I'm away from my family. Yes, maybe I'm not living in the major city, but girl, you see that? I got a backyard. This is my first backyard I've ever had in my life. I have a pool. I have the flexibility to build my empire again. Like, I am able to give myself time to work on my YouTube. Keep it real. My business is still based out of America, so using USD. So that helps me tremendously. I recognize now as an entrepreneur, I need to make smarter decisions. I didn't have to move to Mexico. Let's just keep it clear. I could have moved to a different state, but I just loved Mexico. That's why. In order to make it and be that billionaire that I still want to be and have success and wealth and abundance and health, I now know that I do not have to struggle to make it. Struggling doesn't give you more deservance of the life. There's no time frame like, all right, struggle for 5 years and then you'll be a millionaire. Like, no, it's okay to find loopholes in life. Like, we find loopholes in games, we find loopholes in diets and how to lose weight the fastest, this, that, the third. Like, I found a loophole with being an entrepreneur. Giving yourself the life you want today, making the income that you make, take it somewhere else where you actually can afford to live while you're building your empire. So if you are building your empire and you have already pivoted from in-person sales or service to online and remote, and maybe you want to travel too, this is just a two birds with one stone kind of deal. Like, open up your horizons. Go to new states, go to new countries, work smarter. Remember, if you forgot how it was when you was at your job, it was hard, all right? Having to decide whether you eat good food or you eat shitty food, or you go out or you don't go, that's hard on you financially, on you mentally, on your overall confidence in yourself. That's hard. That's a hard I don't want to see again. It is gonna be hard to pivot your business. It is gonna be hard to quit your job. It's going to be hard to sacrifice in order to save. It's still gonna be hard when you're in that new country and in that new state to adjust to life. But guess what? I'd rather struggle and I'd rather it be hard while I'm in my pool than be in that one studio that I hate, I can't afford, I can't even fit all my clothes. I'm like, yeah, no, you do that, babes. Not us in this channel. Thank you so much for being in this chit chat about life, about what we're going through. I'm gonna have so many more videos. If you are an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur to be, let me know what your thoughts are on struggling, on picking your hearts. If there's anything that you want to share, put it down in the comments. This is a community of like-minded people, so we're gonna understand you. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.